Happy Sugar Life is a 10-book manga series that I just finished up reading now, and I do want to talk about this amazing book that definitely messed with my emotions. Not only for more of the horror slash maybe suspenseful kind of aspect that you may get from a story like this, but also from a more mental style, as well as the ideas of how some people think in our everyday world, such as how they are in this world too. Now, before I continue on forward, the manga series here has a lot of different kind of people in here, such as people that you may think that are a little bit ridiculous in the sense of their motives, their intent. But to be fair, I feel like this is a great representation of how mental illness, as well as other such things like that, not only from young but also from adults, can, without being tapped into, can get way out of hand. And I'm gonna kind of go over it a little bit in detail with how things are in the future of this essay. But to start us off here, one thing I really do want to start talking about originally is going to be the art style that the creator has made for their characters here. Now, something that I get a good mix of here is like a slice of life with a mix of horror kind of style going on. Now, what I mean by that is there are times in this story where it is beautiful. It looks like you are watching or you're reading a slice of life anime, something where they're just going on with their everyday life, nothing too crazy. But how the main character, which again, that it's something that is a quick change, which you'll read up inside of some of the panels here. They can go from night and day. They change in a heartbeat, and that is something that I really do enjoy. Now, how the main character is pretty much brought into this is more or less this, and without giving away a lot of details with everything there, is I almost want to say that this is untapped mental illness being never being checked. To give a small backstory without trying to give too many details away, the main character, and forgive me if I say the names wrong, I believe it's Sato, has lost both of her parents growing up there and is living with her aunt currently at the moment. Now, without again giving away too many details here, she is infatuated again with a young girl named Sino. Now, again, forgive me, I probably said both of the names incorrectly. I do apologize, but let's just say that with their style and how they are shown with their relationship is actually really beautiful. It makes me, and what I mean by that is, let me explain, because how their love, at least is what the big plot point of this story is all about finding real love and everything, is innocent in itself, yet how the main character pretty much goes about trying to keep things in her happy world is to the extreme. And honestly, I love the attention to detail that the artist really goes for to really show and emphasize just how much like she will go, I will say, to make sure that things happen the way that she wants to. She will get rid of anyone that she needs to. She will pretty much make it and manipulate anything that she needs to. She is a woman that is not, she's not dumb. She's very intelligent. Somebody that is clearly smart enough to understand what is happening, but will also try to do anything in her pretty much power to try to make it so that she will live her happy life. Now, another thing that I also wanted to, and I briefly talked about it before, was like how some of the adults are inside this series too. Now, I shouldn't say just the adults. It's more or less just some of the people in general when they go into their desires. I almost want to say it kind of hits anything from, you have people that are going for lust, heavy lust. There's people that are going for there's okay, so I don't want to explain the whole thing with this, but let's just say that you have people that go for power, lust, things, and the faces that the artist is putting on for these people really look terrible, scummy. Like, I mean, you have it talks about alcoholics, it talks about drugs, it talks about everything, like you name it there. And just the people in here are, honestly, I really got invested in this really big just because of the characters. You really get a connection with them. And even with the main character, like, a lot of people, when they look at the story, they're going to be like, wow, she's unredeemable. But you know what, like, honestly, with what I was seeing with a lot of things getting played out there, you really do see why she is the way that she is and why she's so interested in this girl and how pure this girl is. She knows a character that knows very little in this world and kind of got brought into a situation where unfortunately a lot of kids kind of get brought into, at least from where I'm from. I mean, that is a situation that happens pretty often, unfortunately. And to see really all that being put on paper and to just honestly see just the life that is being lived there, and the again just pretty much the extreme pretty much the extreme events that will happen just to make it so that that happens. And also for the finale, which again, I will not talk about the finale there, but honestly, that finale really hit me. That was something where I was like, wow, you can just, if things don't get checked and things don't get helped, and if nobody is helping out people that are just struggling there, then they can go to the extreme. And that was something that I really noticed. And honestly, I'm really happy that I read this book, just because it was something that I just really like to see. I really do enjoy reading anime, books, anything that has like more of a darker or maybe more of a like something's gonna grab you, something more real. Now I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but let me tell you, that is something that I do look for, because it's something that I don't know, like I think I see on a regular day basis, or something where it's like the real world hits you. And sometimes we gloss over things because a lot of things, a lot of media that we watch and stuff is more fantasy based, or things where it's supposed to make us feel good. However, I do like to see and I like to read up on media and topics that are stuff that really, test your mind. Like what would you do in this situation, or what how would you go about that? What do you do when you're trying to deal with people like this? Like these are all topics and questions that I was asking the whole time, because it made me think, and that was something that I really enjoyed. And like I was saying before, like this is more of a darker world. At least it feels like it to me. There are a lot of good people in this world, just like anywhere else, really. But really, I think it reflects a little bit sometimes of how our world can be, which is can be kind of scary if you really think about it. It's something that you don't really, or you try to push aside, like, hey, this isn't happening. This isn't something that we're really doing. But you know what? People do these things to people, as well as even the kids, even some of our, how we pretty much perceive our kids and think that everything's going to be golden with them. But, they're living in some pretty harsh environments, or having some really traumatic stuff that never gets touched on. And then eventually things happen, and then you have to deal with the aftermath after that, which again, don't want to go into detail with that, because I think this is a story that I feel like needs to be read, so I'm not going to try to really give away too many things. However, I will always be showing a couple of the manga panels on here, because honestly, it is really good art. Again, I brought that up before, but it's really good. And just the swapping that happens, and what I mean by the swapping, and I'm going to go into detail with this, is that again, it goes for when they're trying to explain certain details, because if you think about it, within the time span of the story from when it starts to when it ends, there's not really too many days or months that go by between hand. So a lot of times when they're trying to explain details of what's happening to the characters here, sometimes they go back in time, and it's such a smooth transition that really you're like, oh man, where are we now? It's like, oh, we're in the past now. We're talking about what happened, what happened to this room, why is this person like this. And I mean this room, you'll know what I'm talking about whenever you start reading the first book. There's like a room that's locked all the time, so it's really interesting. But yeah, you'll figure out little bits and details as it starts going, and how the writer is actually showing you these things is probably the better way of storytelling that I enjoy personally, because it's just like you get to see it from their point of view right there when they were children, and then back to reality, which is, I think, is a fantastic storytelling plot. And I think it's a really good way to be able to honestly just show the details that you want to show, that really puts an impact on for everything. So like I said, and again, some of the twists that they do in here, where you may think that some person is not a certain way, or maybe they are, and it kind of goes back and forth. It really messes with your emotions, and that's something that I really do enjoy about this. But honestly, like I said, this was a really good read that I really enjoyed. I just kind of wanted to go over just the bare little bits of everything here. A little bit about the character. Like I said, again, a very troubled girl, yet intentions, unfortunately, like her intentions are pure in a way, impure to an extent, I would say. Like nothing malicious, you would think, and just the protecting part is what you'll really notice. And again, when you talk about Sino, I think, again, sorry about the name, but yeah, again, when you talk about her and you see her and her pureness there, like people love that about her in the story, especially. There's even a guy in here that is really obsessed with it, which again, they'll talk about that stuff too. Almost even seems like a little bit of predatorial kind of stuff there, but like it's interesting how they do some of that stuff in here. Like sometimes they're like, boom, this guy's a predator, boom, but like he's trying to go for something a little bit different, which again, I don't think is right either, but like the detail and how they really emphasize how certain people are thinking is really interesting. And honestly, I can't explain it that well because it's something that I'm like, I think you just gotta have to read it and see for yourself. It's just not just something that you would see like on the news, like, oh, this person's being this and this. Like, no. This person is what he's looking for specifically is not right, but like it's just different. It's different, and you're like, it makes me be like, okay, I can at least like, I think I understand what's happening, because one of the characters did have something really bad happen to him, and it's like, I think he's trying to find his way back, but how he's doing it is incorrect, I feel like, personally, but like this is how he feels, and he's trying his best. So it's really interesting. Again, I can't really go over too much about it other than the fact that the side characters in this here story are really good, as well as the aunt, which again you will see her as well. She becomes more of a hitter a little bit later on, and she is fantastic with that also. Just at least with, again, like I guess it's just how they explain her and her storytelling and stuff. It's just really good. I just think it's something that you have to see to believe it, because it doesn't make sense. But then you have to understand that people do think like this, and you're just like, oh my goodness, that's a thing. But honestly, to conclude everything here, again, I just wanted to really just hit on just all the key points. Again, art style, beautiful. Because again, they have times where they show cutesy art, great art, just them in their beautiful world, and then going into this dark, like black panels, and just everything is just like dire, and just like sometimes the text will change, almost like it's scribbled and like demonic almost. It looks like as if somebody's going crazy. And that is another beautiful thing that I didn't even talk about. And sometimes when people try to cut people out in here and they're really just voiding somebody out of their head, scribbles, everything. You gotta see it. You'll see it through some of the panels that are on screen right now. But it is something to really just really think on, especially for myself, who's always had depression and some other problems too myself. I think this is something that really kind of hits home for me as well, minus of course some of the crazy stalker kind of stuff you'll see. But I mean, again, very beautiful art, very good transitions there. The story is a really good one here too. And again, that finale, that is exactly what I was expecting. So please check it out if you haven't already. It is a great book. Again, you can read it online or you can get it. I have the physical copies here, so they were a good read for me. So, and again, this is a good story that really hit home for myself, as well as just good topics, honestly, just really good topics, and really shows you what someone will do to get to their goals and what someone will do to keep those goals once they have them. So thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it and hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good day. Bye.